Hi, I'm Lauren Leslie. Welcome to Shell Point today for Monday, October 27th. Today we'll hear from the crew at the Palm Grill about a special meal they are planning. We'll get a word about an upcoming presentation from a real-life National Geographic explorer. And Marjorie, she's going to stop by and share another art chat with us. It sounds like it's going to be an exciting show today, so let's move right into our first feature segment of the day. The folks over at the Palm Grill are planning a special event featuring their world-class prime rib. We've got all the details coming up for you next.
Hi Shell Point, Alyssa and Lauren here at the Palm Grill, where we're preparing to bring back our prime rib buffet the last Saturday of every month, August through October. For $29 per person, you'll get all you can eat prime rib carved to order, chicken, salmon, baked potato bar, salad bar, and dessert, plus much more.
Call the Palm Grill to make your reservation for the last Saturday of every month for our prime rib buffet.
And now we have a word about a special program that highlights the world of underwater archaeology and real-life pirate treasures. Join National Geographic explorer Lisa Briggs for National Geographic Live, A Pirate's Life, that's coming in November. Let's learn all of the details right now.
I'm Dr. Lisa Briggs, an underwater archaeologist and National Geographic explorer. From Sicily to the Caribbean, I've traveled the world uncovering shipwrecks of some of history's most infamous pirates. Live on stage, watch these historical wrecks come to life as we explore how pirates like Blackbeard and Captain Henry Morgan shaped the seven seas. Come explore with me. Hi Shell Point, Kelly McBain here at the Tribby to tell you about our first National Geographic Live event of the season. Set sail on an unforgettable adventure with National Geographic explorer Lisa Briggs as she takes us deep into the fascinating world of pirates, past and present. Through incredible storytelling, cutting-edge research, and breathtaking imagery, Briggs brings to life the myths, mysteries, and real history behind the pirate's life. This is the first National Geographic Live event of the season, and just a few tickets remain. Shell Point is honored to serve as Florida's host site for America 250, celebrating the nation's history with programs that inspire curiosity, discovery, and pride. So don't miss this thrilling evening that blends history, science, and storytelling on the big stage. Come join us here on Monday evening, November 10th in Connie Brown Hall, and come see us in the box office for your ticket.
Marjorie is standing by right now with today's Art Chat.
Hello everyone and welcome to Art Chat. I'm Marjorie and my guest today is Al Chalosky, who is one of our artists in my new masterpieces. And Al has done wonderful miniature urbanscapes. So Al, welcome to Art Chat.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.
Well, it's great to have you here, and I want to start out by having you talk a little bit about your background, which is so interesting.
Okay. I always wanted to be an artist, and when I went to art school in Rhode Island, I decided through all the set designs I used to do at school plays and things like that, I wanted to be a set designer, and got lucky enough to go to grad school in New York to study set design. And then on my first show ever in Miami, I met the greatest producer, director in Broadway history, Hal Prince, and he gave me a shot. He gave me a chance. And I got to move to New York and be a set designer. And that's where I got these from. We would not only draw up the sets. I was an assistant, but I also was in charge of making the miniature scale sets that the directors and producers and lighting people would play with and block a show. And it got to the point where I decided to do, New York was so amazing around me in 1989, 1990, that I decided to start making these and try to get a gallery in New York. And Soho was the spot back then. Not anymore, but Soho was great. And I was lucky enough to get a gallery on corner of Prince and Green that would take my work. And I started doing these ever since.
What is your goal for doing these? We had an earlier conversation, and I found it fascinating talking about a part of your own history in these.
Yeah. My goals have changed with these, first from trying to get a name for myself and be known in the art world. Now, the latest pieces since, I would say I stopped doing these for a while, but I would say in the last 9 or 10 years, I started doing them again. And my goal is very specific with these pieces, is to capture a time period in the cities I lived in. Mostly I do New York from the late 80s to 2001. And I do places that no longer exist anymore, but are part of my life. So it's like a three-part series to all my work. First, I try to find a place that is iconic or well known to the city's environment and to that time period, like a newsstand, which there used to be over 4,500 of them in New York, the Five Borough area. Now they're down to like 100 and something. And magazines and newspapers are a dying breed. And so I find places that are iconic also. Bars I went to, CBGBs, places like that. And the second part of what I try to accomplish is I have to have a personal history of my own in each of these places. I can't just say, hey, I'm going to pick that building because it's famous and do it. That doesn't appeal to me. I have to be like, oh yeah, I went to that bar 100 times and got thrown out plenty of times. Usually some embarrassing story. This was a newsstand that I visited frequently. It was on the corner of the southwest corner of Central Park, right in Columbus Circle. And the last few years in New York, after I moved from downtown in Soho, I moved to the Upper West Side. I used to walk by there all the time. I used to love walking Central Park, and this was just amazing newsstand that was always there, and get my papers. And there was the Muffin Cafe down the street, and I'd go to that, or sit in the park with my wife, and we had our first child in the city, and we would do that. And the newsstands became that part of my life where I would go. You get your paper, you get your coffee, and those blue Greek coffee cups. I
remember those.
Yeah, they littered the city. This is all pre-Starbucks. And then the third part is these places are all gone. This newsstand is not there anymore. CBGB's is now a clothing store. Places like that, Mars Bar that I did a piece on, it's a TD Waterhouse. They've erased history, my history too. And I'm just trying to kind of preserve it. I'm preserving that time period in New York's history, or Florida's history, Miami's where I grew up, and I'm also preserving my stories. I don't want my stories to die. I have 2 or 3 box loads of photos. Before cell phones, where you could take 1,000 photos on your phone. Here, I had a Canon AE1. I had a choice of a roll of 24 or 36, and every picture had to count, because then you develop it and it got really expensive. But I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pictures that now I'm looking at them, I'm like, wow, I documented the city. I documented the whole early 90s, late 80s, early 90s in New York City. All in these boxes. And then I just started doing piece by piece and bringing back that time period in miniature. And so it's storytelling, and they're also almost like self-portraits in a way.
Yeah.
There's a bit of me in them too. They're not just a building or a newsstand or a bar. There's stories that I'd love to tell.
Well, you were talking to me about how you would get up, you would start your day having a coffee and at the newsstand.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so wonderful memories for you.
Wonderful memory. It's like every morning started the same way. I'd go to either this newsstand or the one on 72nd and Broadway, and I'd pick my New York Post, something, a magazine or paper. Then I'd walk over to Columbus Avenue and my favorite little coffee shop, the Muffins Cafe, which is actually still there, which is great to know. And that's how it started every morning. And it was a really great time to be in New York City in the 90s during that time period. It was changing every day, but it was still the old and the new. And it's all gone. It's all. I walk around now and I'm like, hey, that's where this used to be, and that's where that used to be, and now they're here right in front of me again. So,
your work manages to capture a sort of grittiness of areas,
right?
Real authentic feeling to your work, I think.
I'm telling the truth when I do that. Soho, I don't know if anybody remembers, in late 80s, early 90s.
I do.
It was not a clean place.
Right.
It was not an amazing place. What made Soho amazing is, of course, like always, the artists go in there and they took all these beautiful cast iron buildings that were just falling apart, and the neighborhood was like this, full of graffiti and garbage and dirt and things like that. And they would take it, and that would be their perfect spaces for an amazing gallery, where there was Leo Castelli showing Warhols or OK Harris Gallery showing their stuff. I mean, there was just some amazing. Gagosian was down there. Just a lot of amazing galleries, and you would go through, walk over all this garbage and coffee cups and everything, and graffiti everywhere. And now you see graffiti like in Miami and Wynwood, but it's all paid, and the places pay the artists to do it, and
It's different kind of graffiti.
it's a different kind of graffiti. These guys that did that work were risking their freedom. They would go to jail. I mean, they would get really so it was very authentic.
Yeah.
And for me not to capture that, I've actually stayed, like some of these old graffiti artists saw my work, and they still like, hey, I could see my work in yours, and I've actually become friends through social media with some of these
how interesting.
these original old timers who used to be great. And they always ask me, it's like, did you used to graffiti? And I'm like, no, I wasn't cool enough to do that. I didn't want to, I was scared for getting in trouble. But there's also something great in the garbage, in the grittiness in the garbage. You could tell a lot about a city by, I keep bringing up those coffee cups, but that time period in New York, the city would be littered with two things that are really not there anymore: these blue Greek coffee cups, because every single corner deli and bodega, that's how you got your coffee. You would go in there, you order your coffee regular, and you get that blue cup. They were all over the city streets. That and your $2 umbrellas that used to sell right outside of the subway stations, and every time it rained, they sell you these umbrellas that last literally 15 minutes.
Exactly right.
So after every rain, you had coffee cups and umbrellas, but there's things in that garbage that I try to capture. There's certain cigarette brands that are no longer around. There's certain candies that are no longer around. Certain graffiti artists that are no longer around. So when you see that, I am documenting an exact time period. It's like I'm time stamping these pieces through the magazines in the newsstand, through the newspaper articles, through the garbage, through the graffiti. You could pinpoint and say, this was definitely 1996.
Yeah, and talk about those details, because as you look at your work, relate that to what we're looking at right here. This is what one would have seen
Yes.
at the time.
Yes, this one, when I do newsstands, I start off with not only the place I want to do, there's so many beautiful, amazing newsstands in great locations, but then I would pick out a time period, and I have these old photographs of these newspapers, and I would pick a story that sometimes you get such a big story in New York, and it would make all 5 or 6 papers, the
Right.
headline.
Right.
So it's easy. So this one, for instance, is the 1996 Yankees World Championship, which, if you're not a Yankee fan, sorry, I am, and I was very happy that moment. And I would have all the newspapers with the headlines of the Yankees winning. But then now I have to do my research, and that's a lot of fun. It sounds boring, but it's fun for me. So now I have to find vintage magazines online that would be the exact month, the exact week, the exact month of the magazine that would be there when that story came out.
It's amazing.
And,
amazing research and work.
So I would have to, just look at Vogues and Time magazines, and some of these are great looking at them again because it's magazines that don't exist anymore, like JFK Jr.'s magazine George
Yeah.
is in this.
Right.
It's not there anymore.
Yeah.
But it was a big magazine, huge, and it was, so when you look at the magazines and you're like, okay, you could take me up on the challenge and look at them, and they're all that exact publication that would have been there that day.
Amazing. Talk a little bit about scale. What kind of a scale are you working with, and what does that mean? Explain what scale means.
Okay. I work in 3 different scales. There's 1/12, which is or 1 inch equals a foot. Then there's 1/24, which is 1 inch equals 2 feet. And then there's 1/18, 1 inch equals a foot and a half. The reason I choose 3 scales is because I'm recently this new term came out, and I'm technically a scratch builder.
Okay.
Where I don't use 3D printing machines. I don't use, I don't just type out something on a computer screen and then this plastic mold
Thing
comes
appears,
up.
yeah,
No, I do
right.
everything. I
The
do
old-fashioned way?
everything the way I did sets and miniatures back then. Back then we worked in 1/4 inch scale, which is the 1/24. This one is a 1 inch scale, 1/12. 1 foot equals or 1 inch equals 1 foot.
Okay.
And the reason I do the 3 scales also is because it keeps me honest, where I don't build 30 fire hydrants at a time, and I don't become this little mini factory of building all these objects at a time, and then I use them for future pieces. I start each piece from scratch. I start drawing them out, frameworking, figuring out what scale I want to do. Sometimes one object picks the scale, like the hardest object, like I'm doing next piece is Captain Tony's, and I started off by, they have this giant grouper in the front of their building over on their sign, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to start with that one. That one's going to have to be about this big for me to make out of clay, and then, okay, that's going to turn the piece into a 1 inch equals a foot.
Oh, interesting.
Or, if I want to do a whole city block, like I've done Times Square, like 8 buildings, I'll do the 1/4 inch scale,
Yeah.
actually that was 1/2 inch scale, which now I'm working smaller in scale, but then I could work larger pieces. When I'm doing singular pieces, sometimes I just like doing like the bigger scale. It's more,
You can see more detail.
you see more dramatic, and the pieces are bigger, and they, instead of having somebody get these for their house or collection where they hang on a wall, it's like this big. Okay, so now it's something a
Right.
little bit more substantial, and it
Right.
looks pretty cool.
Speaking of which, Tabanero Cigars.
Yes.
Talk about that. Fascinating work.
It's a funny story. Some like these Florida pieces that I'm doing are pretty much the first in a long time of places that I'm doing that still exist. And I did a show in Tampa last year, last March at the Gasparilla Art Festival, and I've been to Tampa a dozen times, but I've never been to Ybor
Ybor
City.
City.
Which, shame on me, I was born in Cuba, and why I haven't gone to Ybor City is my fault. Then I started reading the history of Ybor City, that it was the original migration place from the Cubans before Miami, and then like that's where they started all their cigar shops, and it became Cigar City and the capital of cigars. And they still saying that they make more cigar companies there than the rest of the country and world, which is amazing. So when I did the show, I went up to Tampa with my friend and fellow artist Shah Hijabi, who's a great watercolorist, and we do a lot of things together. He's just a great friend of mine, and he does watercolor and I do my things. But so we decided to stay in Ybor City, and I'm looking around and I'm like, how have I not been here? I don't know if anybody's ever been to Ybor City. I'm looking around. The architecture looks like Bourbon Street in New Orleans, with all the dark iron railings, but then there's palm trees and roosters running around like in Duval Street.
I love the roosters.
In Key West. So I always tease, I always make a joke that if Duval Street and Bourbon Street had a baby, it would be 7th Avenue in Ybor City. So we were going around, and one day we decided, like, we went this really cool cigar store, Tabanero Cigars, and I wanted to do the place because I had a cigar there and had great Cuban coffee, and we sat there. That was nice. But they have this giant 10-foot cigar on the outside of their building, and I'm like, okay, gotta make a miniature with a 10-foot cigar. But it turned out to be it was actually one of the prettier buildings too, and
it's an interesting building.
It's a great building, and the place inside, people still making their cigars by hand, and I just thought it was great. Got to have some really fine, authentic Cuban food. You have to go to like the little places in the alleys that are like they're like look really terrible. We went to Columbia, which is their top place. Overrated.
It's the big fancy restaurant.
But if you find these little places, just like you do in Calle Ocho, Miami, you gotta find the little places. Stay away from them. And that's what we did. We started like going to these little places and having great coffee, cigars, and I'm like, Tabaneros is gonna be part of my series. I'm doing that same show in Tampa again this February. So I'm like, it'd be nice to show Tampa piece.
Yeah.
And
if it lasts that long.
And it's also part of my Cuban heritage, which was great to know. And so I had a lot of fun doing it because I got, again, to follow history and let history dictate what I'm going to do. And then it became my history because I enjoyed going to that shop and spending time there. So it wasn't like I drove by and said, no, great building, I'm going to take a picture of it. No, I actually experienced it. So it's a great place.
Al Chilosky, thank you so much for joining us here for Art Chat.
Oh, thank you for having me. This is it's so nice to do the Tribby for a second time, and so nice to do it with you for a second time, and it's so enjoyable.
Well, it's wonderful work. So for everyone, make sure you see this exhibition. The exhibition again is Minute Masterpieces. You'll see all this work we've been talking about, as well as 143 miniature paintings. It's here through January 17th, so make sure you come on in, enjoy this fabulous work, and we'll see you again soon on another Art Chat.
Coming up next, we have a special message from the team at View. They've got something exciting lined up. It's a limited time discount just for you. Stick around to get the full scoop.
Hello Shell Point, I'm Joe Knapp coming to you from the View Dining Room here with an exciting dining announcement. Beginning this coming week, all through the month of October, both the View and Palm Grill will be running a new discount program called Neighborhood Nights. Monday through Saturday, each neighborhood will have 2 nights where they will receive a special 10% discount at both View and the Palm Grill. Mondays and Thursdays will be the Island neighborhood. Tuesdays and Fridays will be all the residents from the Woodlands, and then Wednesdays and Saturdays will be all of the Coastal Links neighborhoods will receive a 10% discount. The motive of this discount is to help get our dining rooms filled and to get you to come join us for dinner. So the promotion will only be available 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. for dine-in only. Sorry, that means no carry-out, deliveries, or special events. We just really want to get you to join us and come see us at the View in Palm Grill.
Don't forget, you can always catch the birthdays, anniversaries, memorials, and other announcements on Channel 12, where you will also find hours of additional Shell Point programming every day. Today we have a fitness session at 9 a.m., 1 p.m., and 6 p.m., a collection of True North stories at 10 a.m., 2 p.m., and 8 p.m., a presentation about the history of Sanibel at 11 a.m., a program titled Hearing and the Brain at 3 p.m., and a class titled How Well Do You Know the World airs at 7 p.m. All of this, of course, you can catch right here on Channel 12. Thank you everyone for watching. Come on back tomorrow for more news and fun here on Shell Point Today. Until then, we hope you stay well, stay happy, and enjoy your day.